The Yankees win in grand fashion against the Braves in Atlanta. MLB Game Night, every game, every night, and we are underway.
When that final out is made, you know it's time for Locked On MLB Game Night. All the post-game reactions to every game across the league, every single night, with insights only the hosts at Locked On can provide. Prepare to experience game day reactions like never before. Only on Locked On MLB Game Night. Your team every day.
Welcome in, everybody. He is Lindsay Crosby, host of the Locked On Braves Postcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. You can follow Lindsay on the X at Crosby Baseball. I'm Steve Lenox, host of the Locked On Red Sox Postcast. You can follow me on the X at Lenox on Baseball. Lindsay, a lot to get to from Saturday. Shota Imanaga was terrific at Wrigley as the Cubs clinched their series win against the Red Sox, who have dropped the first two out of the All-Star break. The Tigers dropped their sixth in a row. The Mariners walked off in extras at home against the Houston Astros. And, hey, the White Sox putting up 10 runs in Pittsburgh for the second straight game. We get to all of it with MLB Game Night, presented by FanDuel. Right now, customers can get $150 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. And, Lindsay, we are going to open up with your Braves and the Yankees. Second straight game. We're going to hear from Brian McKeon, Locked On Yankees, in just a moment, but want to get your perspective on this one because for the second straight game, Atlanta jumps out to an early lead, but in the end, on this one, they held on for the victory in the opener Friday night, and this one on Saturday, the Yankees able to come from behind and pick up the victory to even up the series at 1-1.
When I tell you that Atlanta's bullpen was historically bad, I'm not just exaggerating. OptaStats had the stat on this. The Braves are the first team in MLB history to have their bullpen pitch 5 or less innings, allowing 12 runs, 4+ walks, 4+ homers, a grand slam, and a loss. First time in MLB history that it's happened. And it's just, sometimes this happens. Every single pitcher for the Braves that they sent out there out of the bullpen was giving up runs, was giving up hits, just couldn't seem to make it work. And the Yankees walk more than anybody else in baseball. So they had runners on base for all of those homers that they hit. That's how they scored 12 runs. And it just, kudos to the Yankees. They had great swings. The Braves pitchers just didn't have it.
Braves are up 5-0 at one point, 7-2 at another point in this game. Lindsay referenced the grand slam, that off the bat of Trent Grisham in the ninth inning. The details of the Yankees' comeback victory, and we do welcome in Brian McKeon, Locked On Yankees.
Wow, that's all I could say. What a massive victory for the New York Yankees. I'm Brian McKeon from Locked On Yankees. 12-9 in Atlanta, a team that was dead to rights, down 5-0. And Trent Grisham with a grand slam late. The Yankees scored in every inning from the 5th to the 9th. Really getting a comeback going. Just unbelievable pitching out of the bullpen. Luke Weaver was awesome getting out of a jam. This team found a way to win. That's such a key victory for a team that needs to start getting rolling with wins and needs to get these big wins coming, especially against a team like Atlanta, where you tried to pump the series and it looked like this series is over. They'll have a crucial game on Sunday at 1:35 Eastern to try and take this series before they head to Toronto for a 4-game set. Catch all of the reaction on Locked On Yankees all week.
So, Lindsay, we hear from Brian McKeon right there from Locked On Yankees. They win the game. Again, they trailed early Friday. They trailed early on Saturday, able to come back on Saturday. But the Yankees have some warts right now. And we've seen it in the first 2 days out of the All-Star break. These teams are just absolutely exhausting their bullpens after 4 days of much-needed rest for a lot of teams around baseball.
Yeah, they've the Yankees had, in essence, 2 extended bullpen games in this series. Will Warren doesn't make it through 5. They pull him really early. Same thing. They had to do a bullpen game in game 1. And so you heard Brian there. They have this finale tomorrow. Marcus Stroman's on the mound, and then they go straight to Toronto against a first place team, and their bullpen's exhausted. Now they made some roster moves after game 1, right? They did, get rid of DFA somebody and bring somebody up, but they have run that bullpen into the ground, and they got the offense to make up for it today in Atlanta. The hope is that the offense can keep carrying them next week while the bullpen hopefully gets some time off for some longer starts. Maybe Max Fried can make it back. And if he can make it back and go a little bit deeper into a game, maybe the bullpen can get a rest.
So the Yankees pick up the victory again, even up that series at a game apiece. Lindsay mentioned it, Marcus Stroman. He'll go up against Grant Holmes in the finale on Sunday in Atlanta. The Cubs now up 2-0 in their series. They'll look for the series sweep on Sunday at home at Wrigley against the Red Sox. They blanked the Red Sox 6-0 on Saturday. Hey, Red Sox were down 3-0, 3 batters in on Friday with Lucas Giolito on the mound. They were down 2-0, 2 batters in. Michael Busch hitting a home run to lead off the game against Bayo on Saturday, and then Kyle Tucker decided to hit a home run. They went back-to-back twice in this game. Sam Olber, Locked On Cubs, has more of the details on the Cubs clinching the series win with the shutout victory behind Shota Imanaga.
The Red Sox came into the second half into Wrigley Field on a 10-game win streak, and the Cubbies have made a little statement. I'm Sam Olber from the Locked On Cubs podcast. The Cubs defeat the Red Sox for the second consecutive day today in dominant fashion. They got 5 solo home runs in a 6-0 shutout win. Happ, Shaw, Busch, Tucker, PCA all went deep. But the story was Shota Imanaga. For the second consecutive outing, Shota was at his best, as good as he's looked in a Cub uniform, and that includes his dominant 2024 season. He had the fastball working, velocity was up a bit, splitter was working, location was getting whiffs. If the Cubs can get this version of Shota with the version of Matthew Boyd they've gotten so far, they really are just one starter away from being as dangerous and as tough as anybody in big league baseball. They go for the sweep tomorrow.
Cade Horton's going to get the start. He's going to go up against Garrett Crochet. The Red Sox fans right now are saying same as last year. Absolutely brutal start out of the break against the Dodgers and Rockies in LA and Colorado. You've got Garrett Crochet for exactly this on Sunday. You get Garrett Crochet, the lefty ace on the hill, opportunity, and he's been here before after a loss this season, plenty of times for the Red Sox. But you've got him on the mound in hopes of not getting swept in this series.
We talk about this with the Tigers a lot, right? Having Skubal in reserve for game 3, having Crochet in game 3 has to make you feel a little bit more confident that you're not going to get swept. Although they keep hitting home runs like this, I don't necessarily know if it's going to matter. And by the way, Shota, his last 7 starts, 5-2, 1.76 ERA.
Yeah, Cub fans have been jumping on our comment section on the Locked On Red Sox YouTube channel, and they're wondering why, they're 20 games over 500, 59 wins now in the season. I've given them their due over the last couple of days. We've given them their due here on MLB Game Night. They're the best team in baseball right now. The Red Sox had a chance in the first inning. I bring this up just to bring up another point with another number that we love. Rob Refsnyder led off the game with a double. At third with less than 2 outs, did not score. Imanaga struck out 2 batters to get out of the inning. Then they get the 2 runs in the bottom of the first inning. The Cubs are now 41-7 on the season when they score first.
I saw this with the Braves firsthand in 2023. Like, this is what a great offense does to your opponents. It puts them on edge and makes them press from the very beginning. And, we saw the Cubs do things like that today.
Brewers will have an opportunity for a series sweep in Los Angeles on Sunday. A shutout win for the Brewers with Quinn Priester on the mound in the opener on Friday. A little bit of a slugfest, 8-7 the final on Saturday. Gary from Locked On Brewers. Hey, it's simple. They've won 9 in a row, and this year, as Gary is going to tell us, the Brewers have owned the LA Dodgers.
The Brewers just own the LA Dodgers. They're 5-0 against them this year. I don't know if anybody's perfect against them this year, but I'm going to check after the Brewers go 6-0 tomorrow and complete the weekend sweep and the season sweep. Hey, everybody, Chuck Freeman, Instant Reaction, Locked On Brewers. Brewers were actually an underdog with Freddie Peralta on the hill, and the Dodgers were throwing, Ed Sheeran on the hill. And the Brewers got a little dicey at times, and the Brewers did blow a 4-0 lead. But you know what? The offense came to play. And you look up and down that order, the offense, a lot of guys contributed to this win. And the Brewers got the W, pushed 18 games over the 500 mark. Like I said, go for the sweep. We'll be talking about it late night on Sunday night. Please subscribe to Locked On Brewers. We will see you then.
So I actually looked. The Angels are 3-0 against the Dodgers this year. The Astros are 3-0 with a run differential of plus 23 in those 3 games. And the Brewers are 4-0 with a run differential of plus 13 in those games.
like I said, and then Gary confirmed, they own the Dodgers, right?
Yep. They
They
absolutely
own the
do.
Dodgers. Hitting the comment section here for a moment because Nick put this in there early. Nick checking in. The crew on fire. Let's go Brewers. 9 W's in a row. MLB beware. The top team. Hey, we're going to talk about the Mariners and Astros later on, but this is just a 1-game lead. As we sing the praises of the Cubs, the Brewers and Pat Murphy has this team right there breathing down their necks.
The third lowest runs allowed in baseball this year, Milwaukee Brewers. And I did not know who Chad Patrick was going into this season. I mean, they do this every year, and we keep on underrating the Brewers every single year. And at this point, this is inherent to who they are as a franchise. Like, they're just able to get it done with less resources than everybody else. It's amazing.
Moving on, Giants, Blue Jays in Toronto on Saturday. Jays 4 runs in the 6th inning. Lindsay 2 more runs in the 8th inning. Win it 6-3. 28th comeback win of the season. We can talk about the hitters, and we'll do that in a moment. Jays are now 15-4 in their last 19. But Eric Lauer retired 13 in a row to start. Gave up a home run to Willie Adames with 1 out in the 5th inning. Lauer 5-2 with the win. Struck out 7. Gave up 2 earned runs on 6 base hits. Struck out the side in the 2nd. And the Jays, they pick up a game on the Red Sox, but they don't lose any ground on Saturday as they win and the Yankees win in Atlanta.
Eric Lauer, 3.61 ERA as a starter this year in 9 starts. He's been a reliever. He's been a starter, but I don't really understand how the Blue Jays are doing this. It doesn't feel like on paper, this team doesn't look like they're that impressive, but the pitchers just go out there and give quality starts every single time. It feels like the offense, they get the hits from a different guy every day. That's the big thing, is it feels like it's somebody different every time. Sometimes it's George Springer. It was Will Wagner with the 2-run double in the 6th tonight. And I mean, it's hard to count them out because you can see they've got the pitching, they've got the defense, and they have enough offense to make noise in October.
And Vladdy Jr. hasn't had a spectacular season. I mean, he could really carry this team for a few weeks here after the All-Star break. During the All-Star break, I read a great article on the Blue Jays from The Athletic, and it talked about how they're all in. And I go back to a series at Fenway a while back where they went in with a mission to bury the Red Sox. Now, the Red Sox then went on and won 10 in a row, but that was sort of the beginning of a great run by Toronto. But they're just all in. They're around the clubhouse after games talking, hitting. John Schneider, who I think has been on the hot seat for probably the last 2+ seasons. He's got his coaching staff in his hotel room when they're on the road, putting together different lineups for the next day, 2 days down the road. It was a great article, and I almost wanted to run through the wall reading it for the Toronto Blue Jays, because in a lot of ways, they're finally doing what they expected to do. Maybe not from the outside of what they expected to do, but within the organization, they are right where they expect to be.
Baseball feels like the ultimate better than the sum of their parts sport, where like a team can do that and they can all come together. And like we saw the Tigers do it down the stretch last year. We're seeing the Blue Jays do it now. The question is, I kind of want to ask this, did they peak too early? Can they keep this going all the way through the next month and a half, 2 months, and then into the postseason? That's the big question to figure out now.
And I say no, they haven't peaked early because, again, as stating earlier, Vladdy Jr. hasn't taken off.
True.
Decent numbers, but not Vlad Jr. Season numbers of what you expect him to hit on the back of the baseball card and then on his baseball reference page. All right, Rangers 4-1 victory at home against the Tigers. Tigers have lost 6 straight games, so they're now going through it a little bit right now, but they've got such a big lead in that AL Central. They're not going to coast, but they're going to win this division, and they're probably going to win it, I would say, by 8 or more games.
Yeah, I mean,
but right now they're in a funk. So how do they get out of this funk?
Having Trick Skubal pitch tomorrow can help. Whenever you can throw Skubal,
I just lobbed that up there, and you hit it out of the park.
Yeah,
I love
Sunday Night Baseball. We get Skubal on Sunday Night Baseball. Lucky us. Anthony Eovaldi was scratched, unfortunately, so it's Jacob Latz instead. But Skubal can fix a lot of what ails you when he can go out there and go 8 innings with 10 strikeouts and 2 hits and no runs allowed. So let's see if he can keep them from getting swept. And then they just got to get more offense again, right? They've got to get Riley Green hit a solo homer tonight to keep him from getting shut out, but they've got to get these bats going. It feels like they always have 2 or 3 hot guys, and right now they just maybe have only one, and they have to get some more bats going.
Yeah, Rowdy Tellez, 3-run home run on the second for the Rangers, who are on a little bit of a roll right now. They're a game over 500 for the first time in a long time. Kumar Rocker on that long list of pitchers, you just never know what he's capable of. But what he did on Saturday, now 4-4 with the win, 6 1/3, 1 hit, 3 walks, 5 strikeouts. Only hit he gave up a 2-out single to Perez. That in the 6th inning. He's got a lot of potential, tremendous upside.
This is the team that, like, you could tell me anything about the back half of their season and I'd believe you. You could tell me they pulled Tigers from last year and Rocker looked like a Cy Young candidate down the stretch. You can tell me they pulled a Twins from last year and just collapsed, and I wouldn't be shocked either way. And I think a big part of that is Kumar Rocker can be any of those guys. Jack Leiter can be any of those guys at any given time, and you don't know what you're going to get, and the offense ends up kind of following along with that.
Marlins with another victory, and again they inch a little closer to the 500 mark, and Kyle Schwarber a grand slam, and the Phillies victory at home against the Halos. We have details next. It's MLB Game Night.
Summer sports are in full swing, and whether you're all about baseball under the lights, golf on the green, or high-stakes soccer action, FanDuel is the best way to make every game even more exciting because you're already following the action. Why not make it a little more thrilling? You tuned in for this specific pitcher matchup. You tuned in to watch this position player hit. Why not get a little more invested in the game? It's easy to use, they're fast to pay out, and they can make any regular season game feel like a must-watch event. Whether I've placed a same-game parlay or I'm just watching a bet right into the 9th inning, FanDuel makes it feel like I'm part of the action. If you're new to FanDuel, new customers can bet just $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if your first bet wins. Open the FanDuel app today or visit FanDuel.com to get started.
All right, Lindsay, second straight night, you and I open up segment number 2 with the Marlins and a victory against the Royals in Miami. They did it in Kyle Stowers' walk-off fashion with a home run in extra innings on Friday. I like this victory on Saturday as well because Salvador Perez ties the game at 1 for the Royals with a solo home run in the 8th inning. Marlins answer right back. Otto Lopez, RBI ground out in the first. Lopez, 2-run double in the 8th inning. That broke the 1-1 tie. 3-1 the final. Marlins have won 4 in a row. 15-6 now over their last 21 and 5 games under 500. This is not a 1-week stretch. This is now going, from June well into July for the winning Miami Marlins.
This is who they are. It's a team of young, talented, scrappy baseball players who are, yes, they're playing a little bit above their head, but they've taken their lumps. They were not great last year. Kyle Stowers was an all-star this year. They've confirmed they are not trading him. He is a building block. That was a smart move. They're continuing to build. My only question is if you do trade Sandy Alcantara, you do, trade some of your other arms, do you have enough guys in the pipeline to get into contention next year or in 27? Because the way they're playing, it feels like they could be a potential wild card contender in 26. They just have to have enough pieces left to do that.
And they're not necessarily going to go out and be, one of the top spenders during the offseason in free agency. They're still, they've got to hit on whatever they trade away. They've got to hit here in the next couple of weeks.
Which, they acquired Stowers via trade. That's absolutely worked out. A lot of these guys that are performing for them now were part of the teardown from 2 years ago. So they've hit on a lot of these so far. Augustin Ramirez in the Jazz Chisholm deal. They've just got to keep doing that, and the pitching has to catch up. They have good run totals, but their runs allowed are atrocious because the pitching's not there.
Phillies use the long ball to even up their series against the Angels at home in Philadelphia on Saturday. And Connor Thomas from Locked On Phillies, you always appreciate one of our Locked On experts appreciates what they have in the lineup. And Connor does that with Schwarber and Harper in the lineup for the Fightin' Phils.
Comeback win for the Phils, and my God, Kyle Schwarber and Bryce Harper. Just it's so great to have him on our baseball team. I'm Connor Thomas, your host of Locked On Phillies, and a rough start at the beginning there for Taijuan Walker. Some bad base running mistakes by the Phillies, and we can laugh about that now because we know that they won the baseball game, evened up the series 1 game apiece. And then all of a sudden it flips with Kyle Schwarber hitting a monster grand slam. Bryce Harper goes yard in the 8th. You saw both of those guys go yard in game 1 of this series. I mean, if Kyle Schwarber and Bryce Harper are the best versions of themselves, and this starting pitching staff remains good, like, this is the conversation about why the lineup is going to be okay. And the bullpen is the main focus of the trade deadline because they're capable of doing stuff like this. They have some of the great hitters on the face of the planet. They do not have that in the bullpen when it comes to arms. So just the thought there, but nice to get a win, and hopefully they can win the series tomorrow. We'll talk more on the next episode of Locked On Phillies.
My question on that is, can Schwarber and Harper be good enough to make up for like Alec Boehm going to the IL yesterday with a fractured rib? Like, do they have, can they hit enough to overcome the base running error? I saw both Schwarber and Trey Turner get tagged out in the same rundown at the same time. And it's like, can they hit enough home runs to make up for that stuff? It worked in 2023. It didn't work in 2024. Can it work in 2025?
Yeah, and it can work for the remainder of the regular season, but we know the postseason is different. You can't. You've got to manufacture runs every once in a while, and you might need to, win those low-scoring games because they're starting pitchers. And I thought about this earlier in the day because it just popped into my head. The Phillies with their starting pitching, we know they can. Wheeler. If Wheeler has an opportunity to go 7, a strong 8, he's going to do that in the postseason. So that's going to shorten the bullpen. But again, they've got to be able to manufacture runs. And you alluded to Turner and Schwarber on the base pass. That was ugly. And this isn't 2 young guys. These are big league veterans.
Yeah. The defense isn't good. The base running isn't good. Can the offense be good enough and get enough from the starting pitching to overcome those issues and a bullpen that's suspect? And that's just what I don't really know. But it's hard to bet against them right now when you see Schwarber and Harper combined for 5 home runs in 2 games. It's hard to bet against that team.
Yeah, and the pitching matchup, Jose Soriano and Ranger Suarez for the finale at Citizens Bank Park on Sunday. By the way, there's video out there of the Philly Fanatic from what we saw earlier in the week for the Coldplay concert that Red Sox manager Alex Cora was at, apparently. If you can watch the Philly Fanatic video, if you haven't seen it already, it's hilarious, as expected. And it even, it's above and beyond what the Philly Fanatic does, just because that's what he always does. And you might expect one thing, they go in a different direction with it. It was terrific. I'll leave it there.
Yeah, it's I'm a Braves fan. I'm supposed to be a hater of the Fanatic, but some of the skits and things are I have to respect. I have to give respect. The skits are great.
Yeah. Eugenio Suarez, a couple of more home runs as the Diamondbacks thump the Cardinals on Saturday. Let's hear from our guy, JD Hafron, Locked On Cardinals.
The St. Louis Cardinals get smoked by Eugenio Suarez and the Diamondbacks, and this might be the beginning of the end for the Birds' playoff chances. Hey, it's JD from Locked On Cardinals, and after watching Arizona pound Andre Palante on Friday, the Cardinals turn to their number one, their stopper, their go-to guy, the best they have to offer in Sonny Gray to get them in the win column and moving in the right direction. And instead, he got obliterated. 9 runs in just 3 1/3 innings, 11 hits, 2 home runs by Suarez, and the Cardinals were left speechless. They're constantly playing from behind. This pitching staff has been terrible. This is an Arizona team that was 3 games under 500 going into the break, and they have pummeled the Cardinals' 2 starters for 15 runs and 20 hits in just 8 innings of work. Brutal. Perhaps this makes the decision to sell at the trade deadline a little more obvious than it already was. The team doesn't have enough right now to make a run into October. They don't. They aren't hitting. The rotation stinks. Phone lines are wide open. If anybody wants anybody off the St. Louis Cardinals, problem is, does anybody want anybody? Will anyone actually call for these guys? For the latest updates and info, be sure to keep it Locked On Cardinals.
They're 3 games over 500, and they're 2.5 games out of a wild card spot. What are we doing here?
If you're 500 or better right now, you should be. You're in the mix. But I don't know that the front office. I think the front office is in line with JD's thinking.
I mean, full disclosure, we all thought going into the year that the Cardinals were going to be sellers. Like, we talked about them, they needed to move Nolan Arenado, and they didn't do it because he blocked the trade to the Astros. And so, like, I guess you could look at this as being a little bit of overperformance this year, right? They're only +4 in run differential. So I think some of that could just be they were pretty lucky in the first half of the season. It's just hard to think about pulling the plug when you're over 500 and you're 2.5 games out of a postseason spot. You have one good weekend sweep, and the teams in front of you have a bad weekend, and you're right there in that third wild card spot.
We have a good transition here because JD is saying, "Hey, let's go. It's time. Let's not, fool ourselves." White Sox put up 10 runs for the second straight game against Pirates pitching. White Sox are going to have a chance for a sweep on Sunday in the Steel City. And Gary, Locked On Pirates, understands exactly where the Pirates are right now. And basically the message, let the kids play.
Becoming apparent that there are 5 or 6 players on this team that are doing nothing more than waiting to get traded at this point. Hi, I'm Gary from Locked On Pirates. It just feels like most of the team is just not there presently. I mean, they need to just start letting the younger kids play, get these trades executed. Don't wait for the deadline and drag this out. This team knows it's getting torn apart. Tear it apart, because they're just not going to start playing like a team until you get to the point where you're timing them back up. Things just don't ever sync up for a team like this. When you hit, you don't pitch. When you pitch, you don't hit. Sometimes you don't do any of them. I'm not going to cry because we lost to the Chicago White Sox, because who are we? We're at the same level as the Chicago White Sox. It was going to go one of two ways, right? It's obviously disappointing. You want to win these games, but listen, it is what it is. Time to accelerate into the deadline. Let's start moving it. Let's get to the next chapter here and start looking towards 2026, because this is an ugly way to start the second half.
The White Sox are going to make some moves here too, but they I think offensively at least they're a couple of steps ahead of the Pirates. The Pirates do have Paul Skeens, but they're going to move Paul Skeens sooner rather than later. I don't think that's fair to the Pirates organization, but I'm looking forward to seeing this White Sox team play for the second half. I don't know why. Glutton for punishment or something.
I mean, they've traded for a bunch of prospects in the last couple of years. They've started to call some of them up. Colson Montgomery is up now. He's been their number one shortstop prospect for 3 years going on. And you're starting to see them be able to generate offense. Miguel Vargas has finally got comfortable after coming over from the Dodgers in the Kopech deal. Like, they're starting to make it work. And you can see if the pitching can continue to get better. Like, Shane Smith's been a great story. He's on the IL now, but he's been a great story. If they can continue doing some things like that, finding some arms with the offense that they have, they could be the next version of the Athletics. And I think that's kind of where we are. So the Athletics are ahead of them. Really exciting offense, questionable pitching still. That's kind of where the White Sox are hoping to get to next. But they're going the right direction, and the Pirates are not.
Again, White Sox 10 runs, second straight game, 10-4 victory Saturday. White Sox 6 runs in the sixth inning, highlighted by Michael Tauchman's 2-out, 3-run double that broke the 4-4 tie. Aaron Savali going for the White Sox on Sunday. Andrew Heaney may very well be making his final start as a member of the Pittsburgh Pirates. The Rays Sunday are going to have an opportunity for a series sweep at home against the Orioles, as they won and clinched the series with a victory on Saturday. Lindsay.
Yeah, it was 4-3, thanks to 3 runs in the 8th by the Rays. Pitching was fantastic in this one. Dean Kramer for the Orioles, 7 innings, 1 run, 6 strikeouts. Zach Littell, 6 innings, 2 runs, 3 strikeouts. But it was just that 8th inning. Pete Fairbanks does give up a run in the 9th for the Rays, but was able to get the save, his 16th save. Chandler Simpson extends the hitting streak, now 18 games. I believe I saw that is one of the longest for the Rays in recent franchise history, which is amazing. So Trevor Rogers opposite Ryan Pepio on Sunday. That's an underrated matchup. So I'm excited about that one.
Reds on Saturday, won in Queens, clinched the series against the Mets. The Astros and Mariners went extras in Seattle on Saturday. Mariners walked off with a victory, and things are getting even tighter in the AL West. We have details next. It's MLB Game Night. All right, again, I think, Lindsay, we're continuing on this theme, and this is going to happen during the second half of the season. We heard from Gary, Locked On Pirates. We heard from JD, Locked On Cardinals. The Athletics victorious and against the Guardians on Saturday. They used the long ball, 3 home runs. We hear from Booney, who basically is saying right now it's time for the Athletics to start turning that corner and continuing to make that uphill climb.
Rays didn't just beat the Guardians, they sent a message. Denzel Clark turned a deflection into a double, then ripped a triple into the gap like he was trying to set off fireworks in Ohio. Nick Kurtz, 113 mph double, Oppo Taco bomb, and oh yeah, his 18th of the year. This dude isn't coming. He is already here. Shea Langoliers, 0-2 count, opposite field shot. That's a veteran swing in a young man's game. And Jack Perkins, 9 up, 9 down, out of the pen, just slammed the door and handed Cleveland the check. The A's aren't waiting for 2028 Vegas. Your future just introduced itself loudly. Check out the next episode of Locked On A's, because this isn't just a podcast. It's an absolute movement.
There you go from Booney. You know what? Good for them to win before then. And they might make a surprise move. I mean, we're looking past 2025, but they might make a surprise move or two, trade, free agency during the offseason. I mean, Luis Severino got the victory. They signed him to the deal. Doesn't like pitching in West Sacramento, we know. But, yeah, this team's going to be heard from. And again, I think they could, as they play the Astros, as they play the Mariners during the second half of the season after the All-Star break, they're going to have a say, perhaps, in who wins that division, if they can pick up victories, more victories against one over the other.
Yeah, playing spoiler and having that development of your hitters is the biggest thing that they can do in the back half of the schedule here. But, like, look at this game. The thing that stood out to me is they hit 3 home runs in the final 2 innings. They're getting those hits late, those clutch hits late. They put up 5 runs on these homers. Langoliers had the 2-run shot, Jacob Wilson for 2, and Kurtz had the solo. Like, they're getting late runs, and they're able to get rallies against a very good Cleveland bullpen, while they held Cleveland to 3 hits. I know Cleveland's not been good offensively in what feels like 5 years, but that's still, for a A's team that their weakness is their staff, that is a fantastic result. And that's got to give guys like Booney hope that, hey, we are closer than it looks, and walk the line between buying and selling. Maybe give up a current asset, an expiring deal, but get some guys who can help you as soon as next year.
All right, we got a long way to go and a short time to get there. Reds, Mets. We'll go a little rapid fire here. Reds clinched the series over the Mets and Queens on Saturday, 5-2 victory. They've won 6 of 7. Emilio Pagan stranded, the bases loaded in the 9th inning Friday. Pagan Saturday, 2 on, and nobody out in the 9th inning. Retired Lindor, Soto, and Alonso to end it. Jake Fraley broke a 2-2 tie with an RBI single in the 4th inning for Cincinnati.
Rockies beat the Twins at home 10-6 for the series win. Big story here: Ezekiel Tovar, Ryan McMahon, Hunter Goodman all go deep. Anthony Senzatella, quality start, 3 earned runs over 7 innings. Flip side for the Twins, Byron Buxton 0 for 5 with 2 strikeouts. It really feels like, with all the injuries they've had, if he's not going, they're just not able to get a lot done offensively. They're going to try to not get swept tomorrow afternoon.
Nationals evened up their series at 1-1, 4-2 victory against the Padres in our nation's capital on Saturday. Nats snapping a 5-game losing streak. Kyle Finnegan's going to be an interesting name here in the coming weeks for the Nationals. He could be on the move. Finnegan worked a scoreless 9th inning for the save, his 19th. Mitchell Parker 6-10 with the victory, 6 innings and 2 earned runs allowed.
Mariners walk off the Astros at home in 11. And this one was really funny. The starters weren't great. Lance McCullers, 2 1/3, 4 earned runs. Logan Evans gives up 2 runs in 4 innings. But Josh Hader pitches the 9th and the 10th. They go all the way to the 11th. Cole Young gets the walk-off single off of Hector Neris. Second straight day that Hector Neris has blown a game for the Astros.
Hunter Brown, Brian Wu, the pitching matchup on Sunday, as the Mariners do look for a series sweep, and they could pick up 3 games in this if they sweep this series in that AL Western division.
Yeah, absolutely. Just that's probably the best matchup of the day. I cannot wait to watch that. I'm so excited for that.
Hey, that's a wrap for our latest edition of MLB Game Night. Every game, every night. MLB Game Night, of course, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, available wherever you get your podcasts. For Lindsay Crosby, I'm Steve Lenox. We'll see you soon.